So who is this cat-eared ninja? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we're here with Delicious in Dungeon, episode 19. And last we left off, we had some doubles popping up, some fakes of everyone, and it was kind of fun, like pointing out all the differences and seeing like what made them all like stand out from each other. Especially the chill chuck ones, like those were like really fun to notice the differences on. The Marcel ones were the hardest though, if we're being honest. Senshi and Laios were definitely the easiest. There was no question about that. But I just love the differences of like designs that they got to work with here. Just a lot of creativity in that. But at the end, after Laios went full dog mode and tried to fight a giant wolf monster that was creating the illusions, before Marcel blew its head off, uh, the group is confronted and attacked by a mysterious ninja who has like these cat ear protrusions on their hood. I don't know anything about what's going on here. Like I said last time, most of what have seen people post about has been Fallon as the Chimera. And even with some other stuff being posted about, I have never seen anything about this character. And maybe I've just been really good at avoiding spoilers, but I've never seen anything about this character. So I know nothing. And that's exciting because that means that I get to experience this completely blind and find out who this character is and form my own opinions on them based solely on my experience through watching. Now, this could be a potential ally, they could be an enemy, maybe a neutral third party. It's hard to say at this point. I've seen different shows and movies and games and stuff where this kind of scenario happens, where you're surprise attacked by a mysterious person. And I've seen literally every path this can go down. Again, I've seen them become good guys. I've seen them become bad guys. I've seen them be neutral third party. And it's just completely unknown which path it's going to take. And so I guess we'll have to find out and see. I mean, no other way to learn, right? I think we should just get to this, though. Not waste any more time. Just find out what the hell is going on. And see if this cat-eared ninja is an ally or not. Um, if they are, maybe could be even a new member of the party. It's possible. I mean, party members can be added in later on. So let's find out, though. I'm excited. Let's get into this. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. We also have gaming content every day of the week over on the Princess of Gaming channel. We have Horizon Forbidden West every other day, Baldur's Gate 3 every day. Every Wednesday and Sunday, we have Beyond Two Souls, and we have Poppy Playtime on Saturdays. Don't forget to click the link in the description below to get to today's video. I redirect everything due to copyright. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video for more awesome content like this in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get to today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked it up, and Izutsumi is voiced by Laura Stahl, who was Dorothy in The Great Pretender. So that's pretty cool. So this episode, like a lot of episodes of this series, was split kind of into two halves. And I have to say, like, I vastly preferred the first half to the second. And it's not like I didn't like the second half, but yeah, I'll get into it. I'll get into it. Let's talk about the first half first. So, the first half, we meet Izutsumi. Izutsumi is an artificially created beast man and a ninja. She is one of Shuro's associates. We have seen her before, just hadn't seen her face, hadn't seen like any details or anything, didn't know she was an artificial beast man. We saw her in like the full cloak and everything. So I didn't realize it was the same person. But yeah, she's been there. And the reason she stayed behind and had been following them is because she wants Marcille to use her dark magic to dispel the two separate curses on her. There's the one curse around her neck that's seemingly like this kind of like killer curse and everything. It'll, cause trouble and all, but it's easily enough dispelled. The other curse is what turned her into the, Beast Man. And unfortunately, that can't be really reversed from everything that Marcel knows at this point. There is the idea of maybe the Island Lord might know a way brought up, but it's looking very much like it can't be reversed. But they do invite Izutsumi to join their party and they do feed her. She has terrible, terrible table manners. She doesn't quite understand how to hold a spoon, I guess, in Senshi's view. Um, and on top of that, she's very picky. She does not like mushrooms, apparently. So there's that. Funny enough, I love mushrooms, by the way. Um, I really love mushrooms. Like, I get them on pizza, I'll put them in different dishes, ramen, rice, all kinds of stuff. I love mushrooms. I get mushrooms, for example, like almost every time I go to the Asian Mart, because they have some really good mushrooms there that I can't really get much of anywhere else. So I like to get some from there, for example. But yeah, I know mushrooms are pretty divisive when it comes to food. I know there's a lot of people who don't like them. Some people just for the texture, and some people don't like the way they taste either. Although different mushrooms do taste notably different, but texture is definitely a big thing for a lot of people, and that's entirely valid. I have texture issues with certain things too, like tomatoes. Um, Textures can very much bother me and make me physically gag. So, believe me, I get it. Even if I don't personally have an issue with the texture of mushrooms, I can see why people would. So Izutsumi is very wary of them at first, very cautious, threatening them that if they try anything, she'll, kill them and stuff. Um, but I think some of that comes from just her nature being a ninja and being, very timid around people, considering she was cursed twice. It's it's wild. But we see her start to open up a little bit over the course of the first half of this episode, though she's not really into the monster eating thing right now. She'll probably get there, like Marcel has gotten there a lot more, but yeah, she's not super into it. I do really like the point, though, that Laios makes on how the fact that she is, this hybrid in the same way as Fallon, but still has her her senses, her mind, her personality all about. It gives him hope that the same can be done to help with Fallon. That while there's probably no way to like completely reverse things with her, she can probably be saved in terms of personality. I'm wondering if she can like kind of revert to like a smaller form though. Like not like losing the chimera aspect to her completely, but you know, kind of going into, because we saw her after the Mad Mage had already messed with her in a more normal form prior to her being, the full chimera. So I'm assuming she can probably switch back and forth between the two forms, from what we can tell. I don't know for sure. I guess we'll have to find out. But I'm really liking Izutsumi so far. She has good personality. She's fucking adorable. Like, I mean, like a cat girl character, like in general, is super cute. Like the idea of like that kind of character is generally just a really good, cute um, concept. But she's also just drawn really adorably. There's like little moments in the episode where you'll like see her ears twitch or something like that. Different things like that, or see her make like some funny like cat like motions or noises with her mouth and stuff, and it's like it's just super cute. Um, on top of that, like her excited face when she's talking about like them, putting her back to normal before it fades because of what they tell her, it was just adorable. I had to use that for my thumbnail. But then we had the second half, and again, I didn't dislike the second half. I just liked it a lot less in terms of entertainment value. Because there's definitely a lot of lore and character depth to the second half. And I like that. But it's honestly kind of boring. And that's my issue with it. I was kind of bored. I kind of wanted to just get back to Izutsumi. And I think that's the problem with trying to put that into the same episode as Izutsumi's like, true debut and whatnot. By combining that into a single episode, neither plot point really gets the attention and time it deserves. Because having a big moment in this episode with Laios going into Marcel's dream and the deconstruction of what her dream means with her guilt over what happened with Fallon, her fear of out aging all of her friends, etc., etc. It's something that I feel should have had an entire episode dedicated to it. But with it sharing screen time and focus with Izutsumi's debut, it kind of takes away from it a bit. And because of that, it wasn't really allowed to truly feel as exciting and grand and, powerful as it could. And like I said, because of that, it ended up becoming kind of boring. A lot of it, like, I'm just sitting there, like, thinking to myself, can we get back to the cute cat girl now? Because I was more invested in that. And I should have been more invested in the second part. I feel like these should have been two separate episodes. Like, I understand it would be hard to make a full episode based on just the introduction of the cat girl. And I assume with this being a manga originally, that Izutsumi's introduction was, cut up by the nightmare here. And if that's the case, if it was like kind of paced like this in the manga too, then honestly it's an issue with the original manga as well. And it's something the mangaka really should have thought about, because it's like it's a very sudden cut from introducing and getting to know this character into basically just another shenanigan adventure with the party, with the big difference being that it has more depth to it, to what's going on, to what's being said. it's it almost comes out of nowhere. And again, I don't know how it's paced in the manga. I don't know if it's given more time to breathe. I don't know if it's given more depth. But usually, not always, usually things are stretched out when they're made into anime. This is the case with a lot of things. Usually the anime adaptation stretches things out to give it more time to, fill out an episode or whatnot. A lot of times the manga content is shorter and a lot quicker to get through. So it kind of makes me wonder and worry that this was actually even worse in the manga. That the pacing of it, that just thrusting us into this big emotional dump with Marcel and Laios came even more out of nowhere than it did here in the anime. And that really makes it suck for both cases. Because if it's even worse in the manga, it's like there's just no good version of this situation, this scene. And that sucks because there really should be. Because again, I should have loved this. I've talked about before how the two... I don't know who is honking out there. I don't even know if you could hear that. But I've said this before, but the two biggest things that I look for in something I'm reacting to or watching, the two biggest things that I want and that I hype up and look for are character and story work. Above animation, above voice acting, those are more important to me. If a series has good story work, if it has good character work, that's what matters. That's what makes it good or not. And this should have been exactly that kind of thing that I'm looking for. It should have been fantastic. It should have been something that really excited me because of the depths that it went into. But it didn't. Because it feels out of place here. And it feels rushed. And, because the thing is, you can't say, Izutsumi's introduction is minor comparatively. Yeah, this is a new character we're being introduced to, a new party member. And, Fallon, or not Fallon, well, kind of Fallon too, she's relevant to it, but Marcel and Laios have been here since the beginning. But at the same time, last episode ended on a cliffhanger with Izutsumi arriving and, threatening Marcel. Going into this episode with the true introduction and learning everything about her and all, and finding out about the curses, it's this is not some minor introduction. The way this has been handled is showcasing it as kind of a notable deal. So the fact that we're now left with very little of that in this episode comparatively, and most of it's focusing on the nightmare situation, which is just not as good by any means, because it just doesn't have the time it needs to really hammer in the depth and everything. It's just, it makes both sides suffer. The pacing of both sides suffer. Izutsumi's introduction is kind of ruined, honestly. At least it's not as good as it should be. It's not as important as it should be. And again, if it was like this in the manga, then it's a problem with the manga too. So, yeah, it's just, I really wish that there was something else paired with Izutsumi's debut here. And that the nightmare stuff had its own, episode dedicated to it. Think about it last episode, right? Last episode, almost the entire thing was dedicated to finding out which of these illusions were illusions and not the real party members. The vast majority of the episode, like 80% of it, was dedicated to that. With the last 20%, like the aftermath of that and the preamble to that, right? So if probably even more than 80% actually, but yeah, if they could do an entire episode focused on that, they could have done an entire episode focused on this. And again, if this was a problem with like how do you do this with the manga or compared to the manga, it's like then it's an issue with the manga. And maybe the anime should have maybe flipped things around a little bit. Had the nightmare part before Izutsumi's debut. Had an entire episode with the nightmare, and then at the end had Izutsumi's debut. Maybe that would have worked better. Sometimes the anime changing things from the manga can be for the better. Can actually help things. As long as it's not like too different to where it destroys the story, and I don't think that would. Because let's be honest, Izutsumi had nothing to do with the nightmare portion of this episode. She was sitting there doing nothing the entire time. The nightmare portion did not need to happen after Izutsumi's debut. It could have absolutely happened before. There's no reason for it to have been ordered this way if it ruins the flow of things. So it wouldn't ruin anything. It wouldn't hurt. I don't think it would hurt anything at all if that were flipped around. And then the Izutsumi stuff could be paired with something else instead. Something that's, less important. This could allow the, important character depth and all to have time to actually, work properly. But maybe that's just me. It's like, I like the concept of what they were trying to do. I just feel the execution was bad. And like I said, it made me vastly prefer the first part of this episode with Izutsumi's debut to the second part. Just in terms of entertainment. Because it was more fun, it was more entertaining, it was more exciting, it wasn't boring. So yeah. If you see differently, that's fine. It's all opinion, it's all subjective. But I'm just sharing mine. So, yeah. Tell me your thoughts down below. And for now, I guess I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.